This is CIVITAS. Where will you be for the revolution?
Ladies and gentlemen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is episode 5 of the CIVITAS FC Podcast. Welcome. Thank you for joining us once again. You know, if you're an OG and you've been keeping up, come on, man. Look at this growth. Every episode is just better and better. Show your boys some love, all right? Subscribe to the channel, man. Like the channel. Show us to your friends. Make the movement bigger. You know, be a part of the movement. You know how we're going to get this day started? Faraz, what you got on body, bro? Talk to us. And I'm going to skip over Joel today because
I'm slacking.
Looks like a white t-shirt today, sir. All right, Faraz, what's going on, bro?
We're wearing Real Betis yesterday. You know, drew some inspiration from their Copa España win yesterday against Vallecano away. First leg, we'll see what happens. But this jersey, we got it in the summer when we went to Sevilla for the Euro 2020. One of the host cities was Seville. So I got that jersey at the team store. But what's cool about it is it's the third jersey, and it has the Andalusia region, like the map of Spain. So it's
that's fire.
Wow. Looks like a stock graph.
A little bit of green detailing.
Yeah,
all right.
The up-only graph.
Listen, if I was just judging it based on the jersey, I'd give that like a 7, maybe a 6.5. But the story, you actually being there,
clean.
The city, come on, I'm giving that a 9. That's a 9 for the story. All right. Rocky Bobby, I guess, is up next since Joel, once again, being very broke out here.
Yeah.
It is what it is, right?
I'm under Ben's mantra today.
I'm pulling up with the PSG Jordan collab. This is last year's collaboration. And, ladies and gentlemen, I even got the matching Jordan 1s for this shit. Ooh, come on, fam. Full kit wanker, bro. Full kit wanker out here.
You show up to 5-a-side games in those shoes?
But listen, what'd you say? 5-a-side games. I'm balling out on the court, bro. But you know, I chose this jersey today because Jordan and PSG are actually at the end of their contract. It's been iconic. First time a soccer team and a basketball household name teaming up like this, and it was so cool to see. It did great numbers worldwide. Huge collaboration. It was awesome. I hope they extend, but this is technically the last year. They also dropped their last collab today. It's an all-white jersey. Pretty ass in my opinion, but I wasn't a fan.
The best
part
part
was Messi, and they were trying to hide his Adidas shoes like in the photo shoot because everyone else had Nike shoes on. So they put like a little plaque by him.
They played him,
and they had like Mbappe like laying in front of his legs to like cover it. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, I was kind of mad though. I'm not gonna lie, I was mad about it because it looks just like the home jersey in white. Like it was very lazy. Not a way to end up a collaboration at this level, but it is what it is. What you giving me, Faraz? Rank me, bro.
Oh, you
Rank
always come with the drip. I mean, all the colors, especially that one, is really unique. I'm
pink, purple.
8.75.
You two can get a room, and you guys discuss your ratings.
Maybe we can kiss a little bit, right? Maybe we can kiss a little bit.
That's what I was implying, but you went out right and said it. That's fine.
All right, so we got our man Alex here today. Alex is a friend of the show, and Alex Jilinski is the name, baby. And he is
like Piero from Napoli.
Yeah, respect him. Hell yeah. Just like that.
Shout is murmured across football pitches up in the Northeast. The Jilinski sound.
And the south of Italy.
Yeah, and the south of Italy for sure.
But yeah, he is the marketing and commercial manager for United World, which is incredible. And so, Alex, tell us a little bit about United World.
So to kind of get started, United World is like, let's put it this way, a sports and entertainment company that invests in the future of football or soccer. We currently have 5 teams. I'll name them. So our biggest name is Sheffield United in the UK, playing
everyone knows that
in Championship. Which is second division of England. Then we have a Belgian team called Beerschot from the city of Antwerp, who are currently playing in Pro League A, which is the highest Belgian division. But unfortunately, the season isn't going too well for them, so they're probably going to be relegated by the end of the season.
You're going to sell it. Oh, you got to cut them.
No, keeping it, but for now, keeping it. But I mean, we'll see what happens at the end of the season. Obviously, anything can happen. Then in France, we have a team called La Baréchon de Châteauroux, which is from Châteauroux, which is kind of like 2 hours south of France, kind of in the middle of nowhere, basically, which are currently playing in National, which is third division France. Then we have a team in Dubai called Al Hilal United, which if I'm not mistaken, are currently competing in third division Dubai as well. And the reason why we have that club is basically the whole reason is it's our feeder club. So what that means is because in the UAE you don't have any restrictions on international players. What we do is whenever we scout some players, let's say from South America or Africa, we usually send them there to get some playing experience. And depending on how well they do, then we can move them around throughout the clubs, which is kind of the point of having all
Wow,
these
interesting.
different clubs.
That's
Then we also
incredible.
have then we also have a team in India called Kerala United, which is in third division. To be honest with you, I haven't done much work with them yet. Obviously, I just started, let's say, 3 months ago, not even. So
Wow.
I'm pretty new to this as well. But then on top of that, we also have uh, uh, an academy called United World Academy, which basically allows football fans to get professional, let's say, coaching and professional experience, sort of to say. So basically, you have like the training facilities that are like top class with coaches and video analysis and stuff like that. So you can send, let's say, your kids for a certain fee to go live that experience basically. And obviously, if there is opportunity and depending on your level, you can always go up and maybe get invited for tryouts at one of our clubs. So it's pretty flexible. And then we also have a minority stake in a baseball league in the US,
Oh wow,
in Detroit as well.
Global.
that's cool. That's
Yeah.
dope.
So that's kind of all we kind of have, but I'm more focused on let's say the football aspect. So kind of the five clubs, plus I do some work as well from time to time for United World Academy, which I just explained. But my job basically, so my full title is Junior Commercial and Marketing Manager, and basically what I do. So obviously day to day is not always the same thing, but let's say I work on social media, I work on the sponsorships, the LEDs at a whole group level, but as well on individual club level as well. So kind of trying to help them find and direct them in the right area, in the right direction to get new sponsors, let's say. But also for sponsorship on jerseys, let's say stadium naming rights, maybe it's a big thing in the US. Unfortunately, it's a very untapped market in Europe. I want to say the biggest market for that, if I'm not mistaken, based on the reports I've read, is Germany. Then you have,
What
I
for
think
naming rights to
Spain.
stadiums? You're saying?
Yeah. Then you
Interesting.
have, I want to say Spain, England, France, and Italy, which are kind of all on the same level. But Germany by far is ahead of the game, and obviously we're trying to maybe enter it. So we're kind of looking at it while still not looking at it. It's like very passive for
Yeah.
now, but it's something that obviously I think is pretty important because it's also another source of revenue in a way. I don't know if you guys saw, but Camp Now for Barcelona got naming rights for Spotify from Spotify for a couple of years now as well. So it's
Oh wow.
definitely something that clubs now are also looking into. I mean, the best example is the US to look at. I mean, I want to say at least 90% of the stadiums across the big five leagues, which are like NFL, MLB, NBA, MLS, are the ones that kind of represent the biggest margins and have the biggest numbers of sponsorships. But then as well, I work on, let's say, partnership agreements as well. So we're always trying to find new partners to work with and to kind of make our brand awareness even bigger. So yeah, that's kind of basically
Yeah, you see a lot of
yeah.
crypto arenas now. The one in Miami Heat Stadium, like FTX Arena. What did they? They
Staples
just
Center.
change the Staples Stadium, the center to what is it?
Crypto.com arena.
Crypto.com Arena or something.
Wow, that's nice.
So the game is
The
definitely
thing
evolving.
The evolution of the game.
Yeah.
yeah, but you also have to keep in mind that it's also very unregulated as well. So you might have problems with being linked to crypto as well. So it's kind of, you have to go with like slow movement, but as well trying to think about the future. Because if you're linked to, let's say, crypto and they're kind of being sanctioned because of it, it doesn't reflect really well on the club. So you always have to kind of pick uh, the best partnerships that have the same vision as you, which is always very important just in general as well. find partnerships
Yeah.
and people who you have the same vision with. Just
Got to always
as a
keep
rule of thumb.
that PR in mind, those like interests aligned with kind of anything you do, especially if it's like
You
looked at from like
always
from a
have
larger
to.
scale, especially sports teams. It's like you're operating under a lot of assumptions in that sense, not just like you're a privately owned business, right? Your fans like need to make sure they align the visions of the club align with
Zuma's
exactly.
cat.
This whole cat incident is just like
this whole cat incident. Y'all wiling on this man. It is what it is. We'll talk about that later, though.
Oh my god,
Alex, I wanted to ask you. Yeah, all right, we're gonna get canceled now. Alex, I want to ask you. So, what is the actual relationship between you and some of these clubs that you name? For example, Sheffield United. Do you own a part of them? Are you just partners with each other? What's the actual relationship look like there?
So technically, all the clubs are owned by us. So we're the ownership.
Okay. Wow. Okay, that's
obviously
awesome.
some clubs we don't have full ownership, but we have majority in most. So for example, Bershkat, if I'm not mistaken, we're the major stakeholder. So we basically most of the final decisions that happen for, let's say, the club, player transfers, placement of people within the club is done by not by me but by my CEO and the board members. So we always so the company has, let's say, the final say in what goes on, but then we have the people on the ground that work for the day-to-day, and whenever there's, let's say, a big decision that needs to be made, then that's when it comes to that arrives on the desk of my CEO basically.
But
I'm assuming this is really good.
I'm assuming they kind of loop you guys in with the data, like big decisions that handle like day-to-day operations though.
Yeah.
But then you kind of like take that step back a little bit. It's like a consulting firm for owning.
Yeah, so that's
properties.
exactly I was going to get to the point. So we not only do we have, let's say, ownership, but we also we really try to have them work and let them do the day-to-day stuff. So we're always there to help them and consult them and direct them in the right vision and the right ways to basically make the business flourish and to help them, let's say, create more value, let's say, get more fans, increase retail, which is, again, another thing I also work on as well. But overall, again, like I said, it's really focused on the clubs, and we have people there who are there for the day-to-day. And then we just kind of help them and orient them in the best ways as we can.
So Alex, I think this is going to be really important to owners of CIVITAS FC in general, just the hierarchy program. So usually, would you say issues come kind of from the ground up? So for example, people that are managing day to day, they'll see a player that they want to sign, then they bring it to you guys. What sort of issues come to you guys, and how does that look like? How many people get involved in a typical decision like that?
So kind of to give a bit of background about the structuring. So we're still a very young company. It was founded in 2020. So it's really recent. So let's say it's basically a startup, sort of to say. At the headquarters here in Geneva, we're only 4 people working there full time.
Wow.
So the CEO, myself, my boss, who's the chief commercial officer. Wow. And then let's say we have like the business analyst, financial guy, as well as let's say the executive assistant as well, kind of does everything else, HR as well. So we're still very small, with a high growth potential as well. But we also have people, let's say, who are focused. So as a global vision, we're trying to, let's say, focus a bit more on youth development, because that's where the future is. So let's say we have specialist people who analyze, let's say, stats, numbers, and who help the clubs orient them in the right let's say, and getting the right players for them, or selling the right players. So we have like specialists who kind of work on that, to advise obviously the clubs, again advising based on what the coach wants and what the direction of the club is. But usually the global vision as a whole is more focused now, or is going to be more focused, let's say. So for example, Sheffield, we announced in November. So since the beginning of the season, we changed the coach, let's say, 3 times. So this is our 3rd coach now we have. And the reason for that, and the reason for that is because the first coach, let's say, that we had at the beginning of the season didn't perform well with the results, so we sacked him. Then we hired another coach, and in between time, we noticed that promotion might be a bit more complicated than expected, straight to Premier League. So we decided that this would be, the group decided that this would be the moment to kind of, let's say,
restructure,
implement the vision that they had, which is more oriented to the development of youth players, and kind of push that. Hence,
rather than prioritizing the promotion and then being kind of success lumped into the Premier League and then being relegated probably again. Yeah.
That's that's always interesting. Just the fact that teams will take a step back and they will analyze. They'll say, you know what, maybe not this season, and maybe it's for the best that it's not this season, and let's build something here first.
Yeah, but then again, we do still have a chance, let's say, maybe of reaching the playoffs. So it's still very, very, very open race. But then that's why we also hired a new coach who aligned with the vision. So we basically promoted the under 23 or under 18s coach to take the helm of the first team, because he knows how to work with the youth. Yeah. But basically that's kind of the vision for Sheffield. And for the rest of the clubs, I don't know yet what the plan is. Obviously I just started working there as well. But
it's cool to get an inside look. Yeah, especially a team like Sheffield, like that's incredible. So another question for you: what do you guys look for when you look to invest in a team or when you look to purchase a team? What kind of things stand out to you? What do you really target?
So I'm someone who's very honest, and who says.
That's why we have you on the show, Alex.
All good. But basically, so for example, we look for clubs that are, let's say, maybe undervalued but have high growth potential.
Of course.
It's kind of like a rule of thumb. I think it's not only for us but for anyone who's investing in a football club. Let's say is finding, let's say, a sleeping giant, basically. So let's say you guys are looking to buy a team. You need to look at the location where it is, the facilities, if there's any debt, what the league regulations are. Kind of take everything into consideration. Let's say that the fans, attendance, all of that kind of is really important. So yeah.
If I can ask a two-part question, Alex,
go ahead.
To piggyback of what Arby said, can a different team that's not owned by your shareholders and the people in the hierarchy come and get themselves involved with you guys? Can they come to you and say, hey, we would like you to take over our marketing project or any other particular part of their business? Or do you have to own the whole club as a whole in order for you to get involved?
So we are as well a consultant company. So let's say you guys, I'm just like, this is very hypothetical speaking. Obviously, I know you guys are trying to get into getting a football club. But let's say you guys do that and you guys are you don't really know what to do. You guys can approach us and we can be consultants on board, and we can help you with, let's say, the strategic planning, marketing, commercial, kind of walk you through all of that, connect you with some tools that the clubs use to kind of help them manage all of the day-to-day stuff. If I'm not mistaken, I think we have consulted for a club before, but don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure.
Too late. I quoted it already. I already tweeted it.
It's going to be on the Daily Sun tomorrow or whatever.
Whatever the article is.
I mean, and the second part is just like out of my curiosity. I mean, if you go on, to Wikipedia or something and Google, who owns Sheffield United, it'll say a Saudi crown prince. So I'm assuming that your company was created as a form of delegation to handle all the other practices within a business and a sport like soccer.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, we talked about this even earlier when we were, discussing getting on the pod, but it's like very similar to the City Football Group. Obviously that's, I guess, larger scale, but.
So basically, let's say in Europe, you don't really have that many, let's say, companies that do what we're doing. I want to say there's maybe two, but one isn't really so much of it. So the one that's the most famous one is obviously City Football Group.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Red Bull, I'm assuming.
Sorry?
Red Bull, I'm assuming might be something very similar, but they're also a larger commercial entity.
But Red Bull, they don't technically have like a structure, let's say like what City does and what we have. So they kind of manage individually the teams, obviously while helping each other, but it's not like an overall global reach. So for example, for City, obviously you have the City Football Group. Then below you have the clubs that are kind of ownership. Obviously City being the biggest one that they have. But for Red Bull, they're kind of more, let's say, on an equal playing field. kind of next to each other. There's no one above the other, or there's not like, let's say, an entity above them that's kind of pushing them to do what they do, basically.
Yeah, they're probably all attached by the commercial side of it all, by just having that sponsorship and commercial impact.
Like financially more.
Then again, the ownership goes back to Red Bull, but they haven't, from what I've read, and they don't have, let's say, a proper, let's say, ownership. They do have a proper ownership status, but they don't, let's say, have a company that kind of runs and looks after the overall reach of all the clubs.
No, I mean, I think I think having these two, the company like you're involved with and City Football Group is the future. And even with Civitas FC, what we're trying to do is ultimately, after securing the dream of getting the club, to delegate different roles to all the people involved in the club. You know, because that's the only way allowing something to function properly, by delegating. You can't all do it by yourself.
Yeah. The goal even is like not even to just own one specific club, right? But to then maybe have a conglomerate similar to United World, owning a multitude of different sporting, assets essentially, and then having everyone who's a part of it and everyone who has ownership in it make decisions on the day-to-day that maybe your COO or your board would. And so just kind of expanding that whole reach. So
if we have a lot of members in England, they can be the focus there. If we have in Italy, so on and so forth.
This is cool though. It's cool to get insight into kind of this world, but I guess from a more centralized version rather than a decentralized version that we're trying to achieve.
Another example of, let's say, a company that kind of does that, but not like very, let's say, European oriented, is Fenway Sports Group. So they're kind of into that, obviously, as the owners of Liverpool. But they don't have, let's say, they don't have let's say, a proper, let's say, football focused mindset. They're kind of more as a sports overall. Obviously, now they have the Red Sox, and they bought as well the Pittsburgh Penguins as well recently. In the NHL. So I mean, they're still expanding, still looking into getting getting teams. Maybe they might even move into the NBA next. Who knows? But it's a very big thing in the US that is 100% I'm sure of. You do have a bunch of, let's say, wealthy people who don't know what to do with their money and invest in sports teams, and they do it across most of the major US leagues. So yeah.
I don't want to get any United fans upset, but just to draw a contrast, Fenway Sports Group and Liverpool delegation versus the Glazer family and trying to control everything themselves with United and the Buccaneers. I mean, the Buccaneers got lucky with Tom Brady, but that's another story.
But then again, the management of Liverpool is not, let's say,
LeBron James,
Fenway doing it. They kind of left the delegation and the day-to-day to the people that were already on the ground by kind of implementing them with their mindset of more like statistics focused, as they did with the Red Sox, and kind of taught them how they were successful with the Red Sox team.
LeBron James, if you're listening to this, forget Liverpool, fam. These guys are dusted, fam. CIVITAS FC, that's the new wave, bro. Come on, bro. We'll give you a majority. What's going on? No, I'm kidding. Yo, Phil Foden over there. Benya, you got anything to say?
You want to say something?
Yeah, Alex. No, this is all amazing to hear. It's super cool to compare these different groups and what they're doing. I'm curious, when, obviously you're looking for teams that are undervalued, but currently with the teams you have focusing on these, second division and under, how has it been with the profitability of these teams, and kind of what aspects do you guys focus on to get the profitability?
So I'll be honest with you, I don't know the answer to that question, but I do know that obviously, just as a club as normal, you rely on sponsorship, commercial sites. So that's like retail, e-commerce as well, which kind of
obviously that's helps. Something. Yeah.
How much does Sheffield cost you?
I don't know.
He's not disclosing that. When you told us you'd have to kill us.
When you talk about profitability, Ben, though, one of the crazy stories I recently read up on was over the pandemic, over the 2-year cycle, FIFA announced that the top 5 European leagues, or actually European clubs in general, lost almost $700 billion worth of revenue, particularly due to the gate revenue that they get because all the stadiums are closed down, which is a prominent thing to think of still, that going to the stadiums and the fans still make a huge difference as far as revenue and support.
Especially for lower league teams that don't have, such reach, like,
commercial sponsorships,
commercial reach and sponsorships and, TV rights and such like that. They're really relying on their in-house kind of ticket sales. Right.
Yep.
And so you saw a lot of clubs even just like not really survive through the whole thing, but they could all use with the support of United World's consultancy.
Exactly. Not only that, but
shameless plug.
Like I said at the beginning, like I said at the beginning, it's finding, let's say, the right partnership with, let's say, a company or a person that has the same vision as you, that will be there for the long term. You're gonna need to, let's say, present them with like the 5-year or 6-year plan so they can get on board with it and see if they have the same vision. Obviously, 1-year deals are always the easiest, but getting those lucrative, bigger deals is always going to be better in the longer run.
Makes sense.
Listen, man, this guy Ben, bro. This guy Ben just dipping off set, doesn't say bye to anybody. Respect is gone. Courtesy's out the window. Crazy, fam. Crazy, this Phil Foden looking mother. Oh my god.
Anyway, Alex, it's been a pleasure having you on the pod. I really appreciate it. As you know, this man is in Geneva, Switzerland, everybody, so he's really making efforts to stay awake. Now I know it's way past your bedtime.
Thank you so much.
Looking forward to kind of continuing the conversation, especially as you if you stay with the company and get a little more antiquated with the operations and stuff. Maybe we can have you on a couple episodes later in the future and we can kind of touch base again and stuff. And it's just good to see you, man. As you know, a little connection. Me and Ben went to school with Alex, played club soccer and all like that stuff. So this is basically very much up our alley. It's just good to see people we love and involved in the whole game and everything. So
yeah, man, you live in the dream. A lot of us want to be involved in a team.
No, I know. I mean, even when I talk to my friends now and tell them what I do, they kind of have the stars in their eyes, just as what I did when I first got there as well. Still do, by the way.
How did you get in touch with this job, since it's so small right now?
So my current boss used to work for my dad, and my dad kind of put me. He's like, get in touch with this person, and that's all basically that my dad did. So I then got in touch with him because I was really interested. I've always been interested, but I've always been interested in the sports world. I've always wanted to work in football, more particular, or just in sports in general. So I kind of reached out to him. We had a meeting once, and he told me about it and what they were doing, and I fell in love with it when he was explaining it to me. Then obviously they opened up applications for people to apply, which obviously I did. Sent him I sent him a message saying, like, I'm really interested in this. I sent him my application. If there's anything else I can do, just let me know. So I kind of pushed it as well, just by myself. I didn't have anyone else helping me. And then they asked me to come in for an interview. I did it, and now I'm working there. So
listen, guys, if you're passionate about anything, you'll probably do well in that space. And so this is what we're looking for with Civitas FC, just passionate members to come on and join. Yeah. No interview process though, like Alex went through though. So
maybe
slightly,
no interview process. Yeah,
maybe slightly.
For now, definitely not. We just want everyone in the community to get involved. But for higher up positions as they come along, we might have to vet you a little bit. We're not gonna for these crazy positions. But Alex, bro, crazy having you. This is awesome. Your insight was incredible.
You're the
hope you enjoyed Geneva.
Had on the pod, so when we become big, you can look back and be like, I was there.
No, thank you guys
two
for
Alexes
having
too.
me.
Yeah, 2 Alexes. You're right.
That's crazy. Friends of the show. People with the name.
We gotta get a third one. We gotta get a third one on board next time. And I know it's late, Alex. You can dip whenever you see, please. Whenever you please.
No, I just wanted to say thank you guys for having me. Always a pleasure to talk. Again, if you guys have any questions, I'm always happy to talk. Good luck with everything. Wish you guys the best of luck. And like I said, if you guys ever need any help whatsoever, always happy. Joel knows.
Hey.
This is Babson alumni as well.
Yeah, exactly.
It's also the friendships that we've made throughout the years at playing club soccer as well. So
beautifully.
Pleasure meeting you guys, and wish you
pleasure
the best
meeting
of
you, brother.
Thank you.
Good job, Alex. Talk to
Appreciate
you,
you, brother. Appreciate you. Yo, Joel's about to cry, bro. That was a beautiful monologue.
Cry, bro. I see even
Adrian's
gonna cry.
There's 3 of us. This is
your
trippy.
Network, bro. I might have flipped those, but yeah. See, my man got his job through the network. How am I wild for that?
You just wild for that.
He got his foot in the door, and then after that, he kind of had to prove.
No, I know he busted his ass and showed his worth. Like if he didn't know shit, he wouldn't have got it.
It's all about you stick your foot in the door, then you break the door down. What's going on?
There you
go.
But
why
listen,
are you being all Italian, like New Jersey Italian?
I'm feeling good, bro. I'm feeling good. What's going on?
Anyway,
no,
do you guys want to talk about this this crypto talk story, or we're just gonna get in the games? I feel almost heartbroken doing it without Benya here.
It feels sad, man. Everybody's leaving today. It's just the 3 of us right now.
Yeah, we got some insight into a cool story.
It was a cool story, but I'm just broken right now. Where's the people? Where's the crowd? Where's the people chanting for us, screaming our names? Where's this guy Ben, bro, just leaving without saying goodbye? It's a tough world right now. Rocky Bobby needs some love.
Crazy.
The community needs to get involved. They need to show some love. That's what it is. But yeah, let's chat a bit of crypto. For us, get into the story, if you will, my man. Get into the story, if you will.
Yeah, so, this week, our chatting crypto story, I was really inspired by a recent email I got because I am a community member of the SoRare community, which is the NFT trading card fantasy football game that I'm sure, or hopefully many of our listeners are familiar with. But, it inspired me because I got the email saying, oh, a unique Erling Haaland trading card is on the market. And they have 3 types of trading cards, which I'll get into. But this is the most rare type. And it broke the record for any type of trading card, digital NFT trading card sold, which was at 215 Ethereums. And at the time, if you translate that value, that's $650,000 or over $650,000.
What was so special about this Haaland card, man? Tell the people what made this card so special.
I mean, it's
was it cute?
Was it shiny? Unique card. So at SoRare, which I'll get into a little bit later, but they have 3 types of cards: unique, super rare, and rare. When it's unique, it means there's only one of one. There's only one of that card in the whole world, and as a result, it's super expensive. If it's super rare, there's one of 10, and if it's just a rare card, it's one of 100. And it inspired me to come up with this larger story of just NFTs in the footballing world and what NFTs are, and I'm pretty sure our listeners are going to have to acclimate themselves more with NFTs coming up because that's ultimately something we're going to be interested in releasing as a form of,
well, just like way of
connecting with people.
No, listen. Like a way of like having ownership and decision-making capabilities and stuff.
Exactly.
Also, just growing with the club, having collectibles. Like the beauty of NFT is that the community gives it value. So if it's a project that you love, you give that value to support the community.
For sure.
And also, it's important to know about NFTs so that next time you see some brother with a monkey AV, like one of those cool mutant apes, pulling up on your head, you understand the value of that mutant ape. You understand why he has that. You're not just like, why does this guy have that? No, you know why he has that because that's worth money.
A lot of NFTs, like, not only do they just have a financial, they have like financial backing because of, simple laws of supply and demand, but some of them have utility, like with voting rights, like other NFTs will like, if like crypto-based NFTs about like tied to currencies will like enter you into lotteries to earn more of that coin randomly, for example. For example, the whole idea with Civitas, which is we've kind of outlining slowly in this blog post that we're going to release, shout out to Benya, is that would be like kind of your ticket to some voting rights, to some actual, usage and interaction with the club, with Civitas in the future. And so, I think incorporating utility alongside the NFT is kind of key for it making sense. But, they have some fucking just lucrative, excuse my language, just some lucrative ass NFTs out there that are basically just enter you into community. It's all for clout. But like, hey, if those are worth money and they're appreciating.
Whatever, sometimes people value just being a part of the community. That's one thing that people value sometimes. So, NFTs will get away with not having utility from time to time. I think that, where we are at the moment, we really want ours to have utility. And we want it to mean something, not to just be a part of the community. Currently, the community, anybody can be a part of it. We just want to grow. We want to get as much outreach as possible. So we really want to add some utility and make it worth it for you guys. Make it something.
As a background, just for people to know what these NFTs are in general, what they are: non-interchangeable units of data, any cryptographic asset. And what's cool about them is they're all unique and they have credibility. So they're all authenticated. And how they're authenticated is because they're processed through any sort of blockchain technology. Generally, the Ethereum blockchain is what most of them are on. And like we said last week on our episode, blockchains are virtual databases that track everything in the crypto world. And because these NFTs are processed through Ethereum or any type of other blockchain, you have records of them. And, over the years, I think NFTs were released in 2014, if I'm not mistaken. But, over the whole crypto craze that's been happening recently, I think 2021 was the biggest year they had in the marketplace. And as a result of that demand, you had different virtual marketplaces open that you can go and buy different NFTs. You have the most prominent one is OpenSea. And, a lot of different footballers are all getting involved, whether they're buying it, they're creating their own NFT collection and selling it. Or
and shout out to Rarible. That's another one of those.
Rarible,
I love
one of the super rare.
I love Rarible. Just for anybody that wants to get involved with NFTs and everything, Rarible is awesome because you can actually create your own NFT and not even have to pay the gas prices in Ethereum. So what that means is whoever purchases your NFT would actually be paying for the creation of that. So for people that really want to get started in there and put their foot in the door and don't want to lose any money, it's a great way to start experimenting, testing the market. It's really, really awesome.
Rarible was one of the first NFT projects I had ever heard about, even back when I was saying, like, what is an NFT? Like, I remember Ben was actually the one introducing me to it and everything. So yeah, that's interesting.
And just a couple examples as far as footballers go, like Rio Ferdinand, he purchased a recent NFT, a company called Street Bears. If you go to his Instagram, you can see that his NFT icon. Neymar, obviously one of the most prominent footballers that we know.
He bought a board.
He bought a Bored Ape Yacht Club.
Brozovic, come on.
Yeah, he actually partnered with Verratti and Paredes to purchase that because they bought two.
Oh yeah, because they can't afford it.
Over $500,000.
Brozovic was big in the space. He even tried to. I think he was even trying to get like a token going at one point too.
Yeah, Paul Pogba he's partnering with this NFT company called Crypto Dragons, and he had a play on the whole Game of Thrones idea with saying, I'm going to be the father of dragons, but that's not really that important. As far as the football space goes, they started in the NFT program in 2018, particularly with this company called Crypto Strikers. Now it's called Rap Strikers. And what they did is they just, their founders were inspired by another Ethereum based project called Crypto Kitties, which I know people in the crypto world know about. Their personal opinions about it is debatable, but they got that inspiration because they all were also really involved in trading card business, like the classic trading card business. And they said, hey, why not eliminate some of the downsides of the trading card business and, the fraud involved potentially in the lack of transparency by putting it on a digital space. And so they created these unique NFTs for World Cup players and started selling them, and they just grew and grew and grew. And one of the most expensive NFT trading cards is by them, and it's a Neymar Warp Strikers NFT, and I think it's over $400,000.
That's nuts. I mean, I remember hearing about like baseball cards that are worth like 300, 400K, and this is like before
all of them are
Google was like create. You know what I mean? Like, so this market is there.
And guess what, though? Now that it's virtual, you don't have to worry about that card creasing. You don't have to worry about losing that card, right? Yes, I got these Pokemon cards, fam, but I was a child, bro. These things will be worth some money, but I was biting them. I was crinkling them. I was throwing them out the window. I'm mad about that. If those were virtual, oh, man, bro.
You would have been chilling.
I would have already bought the club. With CIVITAS FC, I would have invested everything. We'd have a club right now. We'd be booling, all right? But, it is what it is. Pokemon cards weren't virtual at the time.
And ultimately, all the traction, though, from Warp Strikers led to the creation of a French company, So Rare, which we were talking about in 2019. And they melded two different things, fantasy football and the trading card business. They put those things together and said, okay, let's come up with this. And so far, they've just become a multi-million-dollar business, constantly getting popularity. If you haven't been familiarized with it, essentially you have 5 players. Each of them are cards. Each of them are NFT tradable cards. And you get points based on how they perform in the real life, based out of 1 to 100. And you can trade these cards for other type of players as well. So you got to be involved in the footballing world and this crypto world, but they're just constantly growing. So the future's bright in this space.
It's a really cool concept. And, you know, another thing that's interesting is that you even see social media evolving with it. For example, there was a popular meme going around on Twitter back in the day. It's like, oh, why would you have an NFT? Like, we just screenshot it, and people would be like, screenshotting people's NFTs. What Twitter now did is they added this special thing where they'll give your AV a different shape if you are the owner of that NFT according to the blockchain. So that means only you can have it, and people will know it's only you having it because of the shape of your AV. So you're going to keep seeing things like this. And that's when this blockchain, that's when it's going to be super important. It really proves that ownership. And I think more apps, more programs are going to start utilizing blockchain a lot more too.
Absolutely.
All right, Joel, you going to talk some ball, brother?
Well, you know, I don't mean to pull a Ben right here, but we did talk at the beginning of the day that you two need to get a room since you guys are the only ones with jerseys right now. So I'm gonna have to hop on. I'm gonna let you guys. Talk ball. I'm gonna let you guys have no filter on the Derby de la Madonina. I know you guys want to talk about this. And,
this is gonna be an hour of intertalk.
It's gonna be an hour of you guys kind of battling.
Thank God these guys are gone, fam.
My apologies. We'll make up for it next time. But
get out of here. Get out of here.
It's always a pleasure doing business with you.
All right. Well, come on, bro. This is our dream right here. Let me just take my shirt off and put an Inter jersey on. No, I'm kidding. But let's talk about it. You know, let's start with the Derby. I'm still not over it. Huh?
Where else were we gonna start, bro?
We might start there and end there. You know, I can talk about it forever. But so listen, let me walk you guys through Derby Day, okay? From Rocky Bobby's shoes. Our boy Ben comes over, pulls up in the Tessie. You know what's going on. Rocky Bobby exits his door, jumps in the Tessie. And we go down to the North End. And for you guys that aren't too familiar with Boston, the North End is like the Italian neighborhood of Boston. So it's very live there. You got a lot of Calcio fans and people looking to have a good time. So we pull up to the cafe. Shout out Cafe dello Sport. There's some free publicity for y'all. Y'all put on a great show every time. You got the TVs going. You got the good lattes. You got the good paninis. You know what time it is when you're in Cafe dello Sport. But we pull up. Half the place is Inter fans. Other half the place is Milan fans. I'm like, all right, this is nice. This is live. I'm feeling like I'm back home. People that really, you know, appreciate the game. That's the one thing with the US. It's like sometimes you feel like the culture isn't there, but no, it was there in that cafe, you know? So I pull up, sit in the intersection. Ben's got a Milan jersey on. Of course, this bum, bro. But at least Kaká was on the back. And, you know, we're ready for a good time. How are you feeling for pregame? Let's talk pregame. How are you feeling? Were you confident that we were going to win? Were you not so confident? How are you feeling pregame?
I was really confident, man. I was really confident, especially after the performance we had against them last time we played. We dominated that game, and coming into this game, Inter were on a roll. It was, and I know Inzaghi said before the game in his press conference that it's not a must win, and Stefano Pioli said it is a must win for us. That kind of bothered me.
That's a difference.
I know that, and it did, and they came into the game with that mentality. And although the first half, we basically destroyed them, we dominated them.
Let's walk through the first half slow. Let's go slow. You know, these guys aren't here right now. Let's break this down, fam. This is our dream right here. Just full Inter talk. Nobody to cry about it. We've taken over. All right. So listen, game starts. All right. I'm chilling. I'm in the cafe. I got my panini. I got my espresso martini. I'm feeling good, bro.
And then all of a sudden, at 11:30 a.m.
Okay. We're vibing, bro. We're vibing. And all of a sudden, the cross comes in. Boom, back of the net. You think Dumfries scored it. Cafe's losing it. All the Inter fans are cheering. And then all of a sudden, boop, boop, boop. No, fam. I'm tired of VAR, brothers. I'm tired of VAR. Man hits the VAR button, and of course, Perisic was offside. I didn't see it in the open play that he was offside, but I was also enjoying my martini. All right. Did you think he was offside?
No, when I was watching the game, I was like, that's not offside. I thought they called it on Dumfries at first, and I was like, oh, no.
Yeah, I was like, what are these guys talking about?
It's Perisic in the build-up.
So that sold me dreams. I was in pain. I was feeling sad after that. I'm like, all right, I just cheered. Like, whole cafe's cheering, and then all of a sudden, boom. That's the one thing that sucks about VR. You got to wait till the ball is actually kicked off before you can start cheering for goals. Kind of takes away from the moment. I hate that. So that happens. We're dominating the entire first half. Dumfries is putting in work on that right side. He's bullying Theo Hernandez all game.
Is getting cooked.
Absolutely cooked. Dumfries really cementing himself as one of the best right wing backs in the world, in my opinion. But doing an incredible job. And then we're putting on that pressure. We score the goal of Perisic. Beautiful goal from Perisic. You know, really showing he's a veteran. He's adjusted to the Milan derby. And all of a sudden, after all the pressure, after everything we've done, all of a sudden we're starting to see some substitutions. More defensive-minded substitutions from Inzaghi, whereas Pioli's making attacking substitutions. Pioli's really going for this game. No holds barred. Taking Kessie off for Brahim.
That was in the second half. That was in the second half. After the first half.
Yeah,
we constantly dominated them. I think they had only 25 to 30% position the whole first half. Second half comes along. After 60 minutes, Inzaghi says, you know what? I'm going to make it tight. So for 60 minutes, Inter were constantly dominating the game. At the 60-minute mark hits, and he's like, okay, let me just take out some of my offensive players and put in some defensive guys.
It's really a tale of two halves. So we put in these defensive players. Milan puts in Brahim. Brahim really opens the game up for Milan, in my opinion. He really changed things. I really rate him as a young talent. I think he hasn't had the best season. Started off pretty strong, fell off towards it, but I think he's got a lot of potential. Giroud, 2 goals from Giroud.
In the span of 5 minutes.
In the span of 5 minutes, and this guy had not been having a great season up until this point. And by the way, scores another 2 goals in the Coppa Italia after.
He wouldn't have started if Zlatan wasn't injured.
Mm-hmm.
Zlatan was injured coming into the game, so Giroud got the nod. And like we said, I mean, you said that Junior Messias came on and Brahim came on. They changed the game completely for Milan, whereas we brought on Alexis Sanchez for Lautaro, lost the initial press, and we brought on somebody, Federico Di Marco we brought on.
Di Marco, yeah. Oh, man.
We lost the game. We lost the game in 15 minutes. And then from the 70th minute on, they controlled the game.
I mean, yeah, let's call it like it is. Inzaghi got outmanaged. And in that game, you could really see Pioli's veteran status, right? He hasn't had a great career, in my opinion. I think he's not a special manager. He's not a guy that's going to win you anything. Like, I'm not scared of Milan.
He's been a renaissance man, someone that has a lot of tools in his toolkit. And he's trying to, make the best with what he has.
But yeah, at the end of the day, he showed that just being a veteran, just being in the game for a long enough time, I think Inzaghi's level's ahead of him as a manager still. But on that day, in that specific battle, Pioli won. Pioli took him to class, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Especially in the second half.
On him, dude. And you've been a big proponent of or supporter of Inzaghi this whole season, but this loss was on him. You can blame the players, but this one was particularly on him.
No. I absolutely blame Inzaghi on this loss. I also blame management because I don't think we reinforced appropriately in the winter mercato. And unless I'm going to say something crazy here, and anybody who's been in Twitter groups with me, they've seen me floating this thing around. But Perisic is playing very well right now, left wing back.
Oh my God, you want to give him an extension?
Huh?
You want to give him an extension, don't you?
No. Well, maybe I do. That's not even necessarily it, but more about just this season. Like, let's just think about this season. Perisic has been playing really well at left wing back. We signed a 40 million player in Gosens. We got a bargain on him, which is incredible. So that's why it was a great opportunity buy. But I'm thinking, while we do have Perisic, Gosens has a lot of the abilities that you would look for in a box-to-box midfielder. And our midfield is cooked. You're bringing on Vecino to win a game. Get out of here. It's not 2018. Vecino's not winning you games. So the way I'm seeing it is, if we can convert Gosens, and maybe just for the remainder of this season, to play that box-to-box role, which we've seen a lot of fullbacks convert to center defensive mids or even box-to-box. Zanetti being one of them, Lam, Kimmich more recently. So it's kind of a position that's almost linked. If we see Gosens and Perisic starting on that left side, that left side of the field's getting locked down. I know I'm going to get a lot of haters for that, but I'm just saying that'd be crazy to see.
No, I mean, unless there's an injury, I don't think we should see that, because the chemistry between Çalhanoğlu, Nicola Barella, and Brozovic, I think that those three fit perfectly in the trio of the midfield. So
that's the thing, though. I like Chala, but for a game like Liverpool, like you're playing an opponent like Liverpool, I want to see us be more defensive in the midfield. Like, I want us to really hold that midfield down.
I disagree. You got to take the game to Liverpool. You can't be apprehensive about that game. You got to try and play, to your best qualities, press them a little with Çalhanoğlu and Lautaro Martinez. I don't know. We got, to your point, we have a really tough next couple of weeks. We just played, for our listeners, Roma, but we always beat Roma, or at least to my knowledge.
Mourinho loves us. By the way, we gave Mourinho a crazy ovation. I don't know if you saw. We gave him a gift. I think it was Zhang and Zanetti pregame. They gave him like a little San Siro.
Yeah.
and it said "You're always your home" on it. And then the fans did so much for him in the curva and singing his name middle of the game. So that was beautiful to watch.
Yeah, I mean,
and after he said Inter.
When it comes to Mourinho, Inter fans always block out any of the bad because there was really no bad.
There was no bad. And not just that, but even Mourinho himself, like, for example, he's never shown the affinity to some of his other teams that he's managed, like Chelsea, for example. When he went to Spurs, he didn't really show Chelsea any sort of affinity whatsoever. And maybe he can't because they're like full-on rivals, even though Roma does consider Inter a rival. It's not really, we don't really care for them that much, but Roma does consider us a rival. But Mourinho doesn't really hold back to showing his love for us. And after the game, he said, Inter, will always be my home, and I'm not hiding the connection I have with Inter. So that was a beautiful thing to see. Brought a tear to my child heart,
Yeah, I mean, the tripletas always, we'll never forget that. And then, but this week, Napoli upcoming away, I believe, away from home Napoli, and then the following week, I think, is Liverpool. So we have 2 big games coming up.
I hope Gosens is going to be in shape soon to at least get some minutes off the bench. And I think I saw Caicedo in training today too. So
I think that was just I honestly think that was, a buy to make him happy, to make Inzaghi happy, or some sort of financial management, because I don't think he's going to bring anything to the team.
It's tough. He's been injured. When he was on Inzaghi's Lazio, he did bring something. Like, he scored some important goals for them. I'm not a fan of it. He's 33 years old. It was free, whatever. Like, I think it was a poor move, but
it is.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I'm not going to cry about it. But yeah, that Milan game left me sad. It was really a tale of 2 halves. But we booked our ticket to a grudge match. 2 more Derby de la Madoninas, baby. Now we're really going to see who the best team is. You did it one time to us. You got to draw in the first half. 2 more games. Let's win out. Let's end the season with a positive record against Milan. Interisi, come on, baby.
Both semifinals are going to be juicy. You have the Derby della Madonnina, and then you have Juve versus Fiorentina, the arch rivals.
The Derby della Vlahovic and Baggio.
We'll see what that happens. But if we want to transition, let's go to a former Inter player's team, Diego Simeone and Atletico Madrid. Over the weekend, they played Barcelona on Sunday, and they got thoroughly outplayed.
Spanked. Crazy to see Barca in that form. And you're seeing some of the signings, like Traore had a very positive game. And you were kind of seeing it come together for Barcelona a bit. Maybe Xavi is going to get somewhere with them. What do you think?
I think it was the first time this season, or ever since Xavi came, that they actually put in a really, really good performance and showed what they're about.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what first tripped me off was seeing Gavi as a forward player, because you have like 15 to 20, like 15, I think, attacking players, but you choose to play a midfielder in that wide role. But it worked out because you had the overlap of Jordi Alba on one side, and then on the right side, you had Dani Alves coming through the center, while Adama kept the width of the pitch. So it worked out great. Dani Alves, shout out to him.
Crazy, huh?
Years old, balling.
Goal.
I saw a meme that was like, oh yeah, he completed the Brazilian hat trick. He scored a goal, assisted, and got a red card.
That's incredible. That's so funny.
But
it's just crazy to see him come back at 38 years old and put in that type of performance.
Yeah, I thought he was just going to be a locker room player, but
that's what I thought too. I thought he was like for morale, a little morale boost. Our boy might be what are you saying?
I'm saying Atletico Madrid are in trouble. I don't know what they're going to do.
Shambles right now. Even though Simeone, he's one of our own, I am not a massive fan of him. And usually I love terror football. I love a little bit of torturous ball. But I think that he doesn't really have the tactics in mind. Like, when you'd watch Mourinho, you could still see clear tactical vision. Yeah. Like, this guy's just like, throw everybody there and just let him stay there. And this 4-4-2 he runs is just pure garbage. I can't watch that type of ball. It's awful.
Yeah, and he actually got some bad press over the weekend because he brought on Daniel Vaz, their new signing from Valencia, at halftime, and then Vaz got injured and he kept him on. But I mean, that's what do you think? Do you think that's up to the player to say pull me out, or does the manager need to realize his player is injured?
I think it's up to the player. It's always going to be up to the player that makes the last call. If you can't stay on that field, you tell them. You tell the manager, because the manager doesn't know what's in your heart, and you haven't seen any X-rays. You haven't seen anything. You haven't talked to the medical team. So at the end of the day, it's up to the player.
I mean, I think the biggest headline over the weekend was the Sadio Mane, or the Liverpool rivalry, Mane versus Salah in the AFCON final.
Wait, it wasn't Zuma's cat, bro? It wasn't Zuma's cat?
That's also really controversial.
No, talk to us about the final. Talk to us about the AFCON final.
AFCON final in Cameroon, Senegal versus Egypt goes to penalties after a 0-0 stalemate, and Senegal pulls the victory. But what was controversial was the fact that Mo Salah never took a penalty for the Egyptian team because he was the 5th penalty taker and it didn't get to them. Do you think that the best penalty taker should be in the initial lineup, or should it be last in order because it's the most pressurized penalty?
The best penalty taker, and let me tell you this right now, should always be first. Number one, to step up to the plate and set the tempo for the rest of the team. I don't care for this. Here's the thing. People really tend to overanalyze the psychology behind penalty kicks. It's not as complicated as people make it sound. The last guy to take the penalty doesn't have to be the best penalty kick taker. What it has to be is just someone that's cool, calm, and collected.
Yeah.
It can be a center back. It can be anybody as long as they are cool, calm, and collected. That's who you need to take the penalty. And it's not an exact science. No, so to not even have them take a PK, and you see this happen all the time in football, by the way. They'll leave, the best one for no, man. Just no for me. Don't do that, teams. It's crazy.
Yeah, you can't hedge your bets to say, oh, we're going to get to the 5th penalty, so therefore my best penalty taker should be the 5th position. No, you can't hedge your bets. You need to just score your penalties and see what happens.
Exactly. Put it on the back of the net. But no, I agree. And you see it happen so much, man. It's just mind-boggling. I think it happened to Ronaldo once too, CR7. I don't remember if it was on Real Madrid or Portugal, but I remember it in my head.
It was Portugal 2010 World Cup, round of 16 against Spain. He didn't get to take a penalty.
Yep, exactly. So, there's too many of these stories.
No, I'm sorry. Portugal, I apologize. Portugal 2012 Euros semifinals. When Spain versus Portugal, it was 0-0. They went to penalties. He never got to take a penalty.
Yeah. I just remember that very vividly in my head. Even now, which is crazy, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. I agree.
So it's these things that'll keep you up at night. So come on, team.
Mane missed one in regular time and then was ice cold for the shootout and came and scored the decisive penalty.
Listen, as long as you're ice cold when it matters, that's what it has to be.
But Senegal, their first AFCON title. I know Egypt has a large history in this trophy. They have 7 titles. But Senegal,
they have the most. They have the most, right?
They have the most. Egypt have the most, and then Cameroon has the second most. But Senegal's first after 3 tries, and their manager Aliou Cissé was involved in all 3 as a coach.
Exactly,
as a player.
He was in the final as a player. It's so good to see him win a title. Like, he's a very energetic manager, and he really stands out. And his players love him. They will ride for this man. Yeah. So I always like seeing a manager like that win, and just the story behind it too. He's finally getting that closure in his career.
Yeah, and we had over the weekend we had some FA Cup action. Most of the big teams won. I think Bournemouth, they lost to a small division side from London, like a small borough of London.
Talk to us about the upsets, bro. We had a couple upsets.
Not really, though. I think all of the upsets that were about to happen, but then at the end of regulation or extra time, the bigger team pulled it through. Like Chelsea and West Ham were about to lose to smaller teams, but then they pulled it through. The biggest.
What about Man United, bro? Man United.
That's funny you say that because it just passes my head by because I really thought they were gonna lose to Middlesbrough.
Really? You sat there believing
Friday
that.
night under the lights game. It's 1-1, goes to penalties. And everybody almost scores their penalty except poor 19-year-old Anthony Elanga. He misses it, goes up the bar, and they lose. But they should have won the game 3-0 in the first half. They totally dominated Middlesbrough. Second half, Middlesbrough comes out with some more energy, and they score a controversial goal. I don't know if you saw, but the ball comes in from across, and the player controls it with his thigh, but it hits his arm. But the referee says that's not deliberate, so the play continues. He squares the ball to the center, and the guy scores a goal.
That's tough. You hate to see it, but it's also kind of hilarious because it happened to United, and they're run so poorly that a lot of people take pleasure from their outs. What do you think? So there's a group of people out there that think, Ralf Rangnick is a good manager, and he's managing these games as best as he can, but it's the players that are letting him down. Like, he's coaching like 3-0 win games. But it's just not turning out like that. What do you think? Do you think he's a good manager? Do you think he's doing the best he can for United?
Honestly, I mean, we talked about this a little bit on our last episode, but it's come to my realization now that Ragnick is not, I don't think he's a good manager, but I don't think he's the problem either. Like, I think he has some fundamental ideas that he's trying to present to the team, and they're just either getting confused or not fully understanding it or not actually doing it on the pitch. But you can't be someone from the director's box and be someone in the hierarchy and then ultimately come down on the pitch and have an instant impact on the team. You need to have some sort of experience, and this is ultimately a man management business. Like, when you're at that level, you need to know how to establish connections with these players and get them motivated to work on the pitch. And I don't think he's doing that. I don't know who he's going to select as the next manager, because he's going to have a decision to make, apparently, since he has a 2-year contract with United. But I just think there's been multiple managers at United. None of them have been able to reach these players. So I think it's on the players. Harry Maguire, I'm sorry, but he's a clown.
I don't like him.
He's not at that level. He should not be at that club. And more importantly, I think United releasing their financial accounts over the weekend, showing that over the past 10 years, since 2012, they have a net loss of 1 billion euros. The highest in all clubs.
Horrible business. Horrible business.
Sir Alex left, they've done nothing.
And it's crazy. They've had Mourinho there. They had Van Gaal there.
Yeah.
Who else is there? I'm trying to think. Who else was there?
Mourinho, Van Gaal, David Moyes was one of the managers.
Moyes was shit. That was a weird call.
He was an awful manager. I mean, so was Van Gaal. Then they had
Van Gaal's not a bad manager, though. If you look at the history of Van Gaal, though, as a manager, you can understand, like, okay, like, they signed Van Gaal because Van Gaal historically is a good manager.
He is.
You know what I mean?
Especially when they signed him, he was coming off of 3rd place at the 2014 World Cup.
Yeah, exactly. So when you look at that's like not fine. Moyes is a criminal. So, like, why? How did Moyes get that job? That's crazy to me. Do they have anybody else I'm forgetting other than Ole the clown?
No, I don't think so, because Ole was there for 2.5 years. People forget.
Insane, bro. Insane. And then another big upset was Leicester City out to Nottingham Forest, Champions League heritage, fam.
Yeah, they have. I think there's two Champions League titles, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
Yeah.
What division are these guys in? Are they?
No, Nottingham's in the championship. They're in the championship. They could make the playoffs for the Premier League. But they took out Arsenal and Leicester back-to-back weeks or back-to-back FA Cup rounds. So
that's heritage right there. That's saying, you guys could have your Premier League titles. We got UCLs, and you can't talk to us. That's what they said to Arsenal and Leicester. They said you can't talk to us.
History's on their side, so we'll see. Maybe they can be the Cinderella story of the FA Cup this year.
That'd be amazing. It'd be so refreshing to see like a really small team win one of these cups too. Because I feel like most of the big leagues, they've just been kind of dominated by the big teams.
I think I remember it very vividly. The last time a Cinderella story happened was Portsmouth. Wigan, when they beat Man City in 2012 or 2011. That was crazy.
Incredible. What did you think about our man Antonio Conte, Spurs L 2-3 to Southampton? What did you think about that?
Oh, yeah. Premier League was back this week after their winter, quote-unquote, winter break. That game was spicy, man. I'm not going to lie. It was a
I'm here. Night. I'm rubbing my hands, bro. I'm like, oh, yeah, the downfall of Antonio Conte. I'm praying on this man's downfall every day, bro. Every day I'm praying on his downfall.
Why? Actually,
because he's pissed me off, bro. He ran away like a coward. He saw Allegri coming back. He saw us selling Lukaku and Hakimi, and he's like, I'm out of here. He's like, he knew what was coming. He knew we were going to sell these two guys. He knew Allegri was coming back, and he ran away from the challenge, in my opinion. And he said, my job here is done. He said, I came here. No, your job here wasn't done, bro. All right, you won one Serie A title. You were shit in the UCL. You shit the final of the Europa League. Like, your job here wasn't done. Coward, in my book.
I agree. He usually runs away whenever there's no money to spend, and that's
exactly
that kind of bothers me. Like, even at Chelsea, when we had a transfer ban,
yeah, yep. But that's the thing, bro. It's like, for me, that gets my blood boiling, because not only did you leave while we were in a hard time, like we could have used somebody to stay strong, but you then went to Spurs. You didn't go to United. You didn't go to PSG. You didn't go to Barcelona. You didn't go to Real Madrid. You went to Spurs. That makes me mad. So now I'm like, all right, you went to Spurs. You dig your hole and you lay in that hole. You're going to have awful wing backs now. Enjoy that.
Yeah.
You're going to have midfield that's not even close to our level. And Harry Kane's a great striker, but overall, it's not what you had at Inter. and you're not going to have that understanding that you had with your players.
No,
your automatism is going to take a while to blend in, you know?
I mean, we'll see. They lost 3-2 to Southampton, and they got dominated, man. If people watch that game, the whole game Southampton were dominating them. I think
Sufferball.
Spurs had 25% possession, and Southampton had 23 shots on shots. I don't know how many on target, but 23 shots in total. I think 16 on target. They deserved to win that game.
I'm a Southampton fan for the season, actually, because your boy Broja, who's on loan there, he's Albanian. He's the pride of our national team. So it's incredible to see him balling out at the club level, getting it done in the Premier League, the first Albanian national to really get it popping in the Prem. So I'm enjoying that, bro. And to me, I think he has a lot of potential. I think Chelsea would do great to keep him next season. And if they don't, please Inter, please anybody, sign this guy. He's incredible. He's going to be a talisman, I think. And I think
Southampton want to pull the trigger and purchase him fully, not just.
How much would that cost, do you think? How much
I
would
think
they pay?
25 mil. 25, 30 mil.
That's a steal. That's daylight robbery.
He's like 19 years old. He has his whole career in front of him.
If Chelsea does that,
Chelsea actually they realize how good he is, and they're like, no, we don't want to sell him. We want him as a player.
Bro, I'm telling you right now, this guy is going to be Haaland level, I think. Like, he is the Albanian Haaland as far as I'm concerned. Incredible.
I love his passion.
He's passionate. Yeah, he's got that grinta. He's very passionate. Oh, man. I can't say enough about this kid. Scoring a goal against Antonio Conte really making me happy. But
yeah, Conte was up on the sidelines, too, just running up and down, jumping, like, after they scored the second goal. And then Southampton scored back-to-back goals in, like, 15 minutes. So
how bad did he cry in the press conference? I didn't get to watch his press conference. Did he cry?
I didn't watch the press conference either, but after the game, he just walked away. He barely even gave Hassan Hudl a shake of the hand.
You know what I'll never forget? We lost in the Champions League. I think it was to Barcelona. And then Conte goes to the podium after in the Champions League, and he goes, "How do you?" And at the time it was Sensi and Barella. They were like starting in midfield.
Oh, I remember.
He goes, "How do you expect me to win with players from Sassuolo and Cagliari?" And I'm like, bro, like first of all, you asked for these guys. 100% you asked for them. Number one. Number two, it's like, why talk about that about your young players that are having exceptional seasons? Because they were both playing really well. You know, so I think that's what pisses me off about Conte.
Yeah, I remember that both of them were balling too, especially Nicola Barella. I mean, that guy was just everybody saw the talent in him. But what I want to ask you is just to wrap up the Premier League.
Let's wrap it.
The competition for fourth place is really tied. You have West Ham, Arsenal, Man United, and Spurs.
Yep.
Which one of these four you think is going to clinch the last Champions League spot?
Not Arsenal. I think it's going to be. I honestly think
Spurs have games in hand, and so does Arsenal. They have one game in hand.
I know that Spurs have games in hand, and I believe in Dr. Antonio Conte. I believe in him as a manager. No matter what, no matter how many grievances I hold, he's an elite manager.
Yeah,
especially in the league. However, I also believe in CR7's passion to win, and I know he hasn't been putting the goals in at the moment. And I know Ralph, his football hasn't been getting implemented, but ideally, it takes a little bit with that type of football. You saw Klopp at Liverpool. It took him a while to implement the gegenpress and really get them running. I think if Manchester United can get their shit together in any form or way, they are still favorites for me for fourth place. Just because if you look at that roster on paper, they have everything they need to do it. And it would be shocking if they don't. Literally shocking.
I 1,000% agree with you. They have the best team as far as, squad players. And they're probably the ones that need to get that spot for their reputation and just the financial upside of it.
Yeah. And you saw Ronaldo was actually in a similar position to this last year with Juventus, where they left Champions League to the last day, literally.
Yeah.
And he got it done. So we'll see.
We'll see what happens with him. He's on $500,000 a week. I don't know if United are going to ship him out next season, if he's going to go to the MLS, doesn't have enough money. Maybe Saudi Arabia, maybe the Arab world. Who knows? We'll see what happens.
What's his contract? Was it only a year?
It's 2 years. So he has one more year, but it's $500,000. So they could loan him out and pay half of it.
I don't see them shipping him out.
No, I don't either, but he might declare him just like he did at Juve.
I don't think so. Only because I think to him this move was more about sentiment. Do you believe, by the way, that Manchester City was in for him? Because that's what was rumored, that Manchester City was in for him, and then he chose to go to United. Do you believe that they were seriously in for him?
That's really tough, man. But I some part of me wants to believe yes.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
Imagine Pep and Ronaldo. They like kind of seem like the antithesis of each other. I don't know why.
No, Ronaldo doesn't press. Like, why would he play for a Pep team? But I think because Man City realized the upside of this paying a low transfer wage and just paying him in his high
and wages. They can afford the wages.
Yeah. We'll just make that account. And I think it was more of a signing that the City Football Group wanted to do rather than Pep himself.
I can see that actually. But I think that so I think at the end of the day though, if Ronaldo actually did have both of those opportunities on the table and he chose United, I think he chose with his heart. So I don't think he's going to push for a move out, and I don't think he wants to see this end badly. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, I agree. We'll see what happens though. It's going to be a juicy summer, especially since the World Cup's in winter. He needs to show that he's still ready for the World Cup. But who knows if Portugal make it? Maybe they won't even make it, you know?
That's the sad part, bro. I'm an Italian national team fan. So it's like, for me, it's like, do I choose between Italy and Ronaldo's my GOAT. I love CR7. That's my guy. He ruined Juventus single-handedly. He ruined them before he was there and while he was there. So that's my absolute GOAT, solidified. Other than R9, of course, the GOATed Ronaldo. But so I don't know. It's going to be tough to pick between Italy and Ronaldo. I'm just joking, though. It's always going to be Italy for me. It'll be sad to not see Ronaldo in the World Cup, but
yeah, same. Especially Insigne is going to the MLS. He better also have some sort of incentive.
What do you? We never got to talk about that. What do you think about Insigne going to MLS? Me, it pissed me off. It actually made me angry. What do you think?
I agree. I think he's still in his prime. He's Naples born and bred. He loves that club. He's the captain of that club. And you just suddenly try to get up and go because Aurelio De Laurentiis is a cheapo and doesn't want to give you the contract you want, which I understand. I mean, you're asking for some money, but like, why Toronto?
Yeah, that's my thing. It's like, get that money. No, like I think it was time for him to get a move to a bigger club. You know, he'd done his fair share of work for Napoli, in my opinion. He did what he could.
Napoli's a big club, though. Like they could win the Europa League this year.
Sure, but at the same time, you know. Who cares about the Europa League? You know what I mean?
But he's the heart of Naples. He's their only one of their only players that are born and bred. Like they have a good team, but I think he's critical.
I think personally, I wanted to see him move to a bigger club in Europe. That's what I wanted, and that's what I was expecting. I know Inter was linked to him for a bit. I don't think he'd really fit into Simone Inzaghi's ball right now, but you know, I still expected him to go somewhere in Europe, whether that be Milan, whether that be not Juventus. I couldn't see him there. But whether that be Milan, for example, whether it be going to the Premier League, anywhere, or even Barcelona or somewhere like that.
Yeah, Spain, I think Spain would have been a good choice, or maybe Sevilla, Atletico, something like that.
I think he kind of shit the bed, in my opinion, and it made me mad. You know, it's honestly, like, all right, like this guy doesn't care.
Honestly, it's kind of a larger trend recently for our listeners. Like a lot of big European or former European players are going to the MLS now. Douglas Costa, LA Galaxy. Chicago Fire paid $7 million for Shaqiri.
That's my GOAT.
That's my GOAT. Did nothing.
Oh, hey, that's a two-time UCL winner. Two-time UCL winner. All right, put some respect on his name.
Yeah, with Bayern,
Miniman.
When an infant, but with Bayern when he was an infant.
Hey, but with Liverpool, he contributed to that UCL run.
Okay, maybe. Who knows?
He did. But even with Bayern, I think he got minutes with Bayern for their UCL run.
He might have.
But I rated him high. Like, so for when Inter signed Shaqiri, I was ecstatic. I was like, first of all, I'm gonna have an Albanian on the back of my jersey. Dope. Second of all, this kid, I thought he was gonna be like a young Messi. Like I thought he was gonna be insane. I think Inter ruined his career. I'm gonna say that right now. Mancini put this guy in the shitter, and then we shipped him off to Stoke City. Just set this guy up for a total shit show. And then going to Liverpool after Stoke City, it's like I think he did a good job when he had an appearances at Liverpool. I think he put decent numbers up. But, you know, this kid had a lot of potential. So he didn't live up to it. And seeing him go to the Chicago Fire made me so mad. I was like, all right, so that's another career down the toilet. Like,
yeah. I mean, at least he'll be remembered for some of the most beautiful goals in history. Euros.
Incredible.
And the World Cup. Amazing.
Yeah. With Switzerland, he was always a monster. Like, he never got out of form with Switzerland.
And
but,
I think,
it is what it is.
I think to wrap it up, though, the last order of business is the Club World Cup. It's happening. The finals on Saturday. Palmeiras is representative and Chelsea. So I hope Chelsea wins. It's their second time. Last time they were in this situation, they lost the Corinthians. And I almost cried. I was a little kid. But we got to get it done.
You know what the biggest incentive to win the Club World Cup is for me?
No, what is it?
Let me pull this up right here. Where is it? Oh, there it is.
Please be.
Oh, this right here.
Oh, yes, sir.
Having this sexy motherfucker on your jersey, come on, bro. That's beautiful right there.
Yes,
That's
sir.
beautiful. That's what every team needs to aspire for, having that on their jersey.
And I really hope, what I really hope for is this tournament to actually be more important for clubs around the world. I know it's huge for the Brazilian teams and the Mexican teams, but
I think European teams treat it seriously. I think they do.
But fans, I feel like, take it for granted. Like back in the day, this was a huge tournament. It used to be called the Intercontinental Cup, and I remember there were some huge games between Boca Juniors and Real Madrid in the early 2000s.
Do they put the Europa League winners in there? They don't, right?
No, it's just every continental champion. So
they
Champions
need
League, CONCACAF.
In my opinion, they need to add more European teams.
Yeah,
and that's the sad truth of it, but that's what it needs, because I'm not gonna tune in for Chelsea versus Al Hilal. Like, I'm sorry, but Chelsea needs to win that game. If they don't win that game, they didn't take the game seriously.
No, yeah, I agree. I mean,
but I'm all tuning in for this. This is fire right here. Like, this is the sickest thing you can get on your jersey. All right.
I know. I agree. I agree. So we'll see. Saturday is going to be a big day for Chelsea. If maybe they can redeem themselves from 2012.
100%. Listen, bro. You know, it's been nice to just being the two of us. All right. If the other members are sitting at home watching this now because they're bums and they left, listen, guys, we've been enjoying. All right. We've been talking Inter. We
had our own Valentine's Day.
We had a little Valentine's Day. We'll call this the Valentine's Day special episode. All right. We got a nice little room. We got nice and cozy. Talked about whatever we wanted. Even Shaqiri got some minutes. That's how you know we don't give a damn. We're off script, baby. We're off script.
Yes, sir.
But no, it's been amazing, guys. What a great episode. You know, we got an insight to see how some of these teams are run. From a man that's, you know, a part of a franchise owning. Like, these guys are owning many different clubs. So it's incredible to see that and to kind of get a look behind the curtain, because one day, you know, we're going to be making a lot of these decisions, looking at which teams we're going to purchase, and just everything that goes into running them.
Maybe the future of Civitas could be something similar, where we, you know, after owning one club, we create our own company that could potentially own multiple clubs and delegate that.
Yep, exactly. You know, that's the opportunities are limitless, and it's really going to be up to the community to decide the direction that we go and how we continue to grow.
And keep an eye out this week. Ben is going to have a big blog post up about the future of Civitas, how it works, what this, you know, the community is going to look like, how we're going to grow. And it's going to be really big. I think it's going to be really insightful for all the listeners and watchers and readers.
It's going to be nice and digestible so everybody can understand. Faraz, do you also have a blog post coming out?
Yes, I do. I
too,
mentioned it last week a little bit, but this week I'm going to have Derby County coming out. The story about financial mismanagement and them going into administration, and how, if the fans were more involved, what impact could have had to save the club. And hopefully, I mean, if you go follow their story, it's a really good story, but hopefully they will survive administration and stay up in the championship. Wayne Rooney's doing a great job. I have a little bit on him in there. He came out with an Amazon Prime documentary recently covering all his, you know, flaws and issues during his career. So it's all going to tie in together with the idea of our club and Civitas FC and the importance of the fans. Absolutely fire. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it from us. We had our little kissing session out here. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. Forza Civitas, as always, and we are signing off. Yes, sir.
This is Civitas. Where will you be for the